the Rip and Read extended version kicks off. We're going to go right to the White House where the President of the United States is talking to the nation.
Stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back. Take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. We do not know the motive of the shooter yet.
What's up, Jose?
We don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support or if he communicated with anyone else. Law enforcement professionals, as I speak, are investigating those questions. Tonight, I want to speak to what we do know. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing. We cannot, we must not go down this road in America. We've traveled before throughout our history. Violence has never been the answer. Whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th, or a brutal attack on the spouse of former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, or information and intimidation on election officials, or the kidnapping plot against the sitting governor, or an attempted assassination on Donald Trump. There is no place in America for this kind of violence, or for any violence ever. Period. No exceptions. We can't allow this violence to be normalized. You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that. Yes, we have deeply felt strong disagreements. The stakes in this election are enormously high. I've said it many times that the choice in this election we make in this election is going to shape the future of America and the world for decades to come. I believe that with all my soul. I know that millions of my fellow Americans believe it as well. And some have a different view as to the direction our country should take. Disagreement is inevitable in American democracy. It's part of human nature. But politics must never be a literal battlefield, and God forbid, a killing field. I believe politics ought to be an arena for peaceful debate, to pursue justice, to make decisions guided by the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. We stand for an America, not of extremism and fury, but of decency and grace. All of us now face the time of testing as the election approaches. And the higher the stakes, the more fervent the passions become. This places an added burden on each of us to ensure that no matter how strong our convictions, we must never descend into violence. The Republican convention will start tomorrow. I have no doubt they'll criticize my record and offer their own vision for this country. I'll be traveling this week making the case for our record and the vision, my vision of the country, our vision. I'll continue to speak out strongly for our democracy, stand up for our Constitution and the rule of law, call for action at the ballot box, no violence on our streets. That's how democracy should work. We debate and disagree. We compare and contrast the character of the candidates, the records, the issues, the agenda, the vision for America. But in America, we resolve our differences at the battle box. You know, that's how we do it, at the battle box, not with bullets. The power to change America should always rest in the hands of the people, not in the hands of would-be assassins. You know, the path forward through competing visions of the campaign should always be resolved peacefully, not through acts of violence. You know, we're blessed to live in the greatest country on earth, and I believe that with every soul, every power of my being. So tonight, I'm asking every American to recommit, to make America what it is. Think about it. What's made America so special? Here in America, everyone must be treated with dignity and respect, and hate must have no safe harbor. Here in America, we need to get out of our silos, where we only listen to those with whom we agree, where misinformation is rampant, where foreign actors fan the flames of our division, to shape the outcomes consistent with their interests, not ours. Let's remember, here in America, while unity is the most elusive of goals right now, nothing is more important for us now than standing together. We can do this. You know, from the beginning, our founders understood the power of passion, and so they created a democracy that gave reason and balance a chance to prevail over brute force. That's the American we must be. An American democracy where arguments are made in good faith. An American democracy where the rule of law is respected. An American democracy where decency, dignity, fair play aren't just quaint notions, but living, breathing realities.
Wait for Curtis to come on.
We owe that to those who come before us, to those who gave their lives for this country. We owe that to ourselves. We owe it to our children and our grandchildren. Look, let's never lose sight of who we are. Let's remember we are the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. God bless you all. May God protect our troops.
You're a fake.
That was President Joe Biden live from the White House, giving his 8 o'clock speech. I noticed, Nancy, that there was a point there where he was stumbling. He almost said, let's make America great again.
Oh, he had to backtrack so quickly, and then I think he's settled on, well, special again. You know what I mean, folks.
I mean, he was at that point where he was ready to say, let's make America great again. And he realized if he said that, it was over.
Oh, that would have been used in every ad against him.
It was over. But, you know, there's just no pull that this president has. We played it because he is the president speaking in the aftermath of an assassination attempt that took place yesterday in the 6 o'clock hour in Butler, Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh. A guy we're going to go into at length. And remember, I have a standing rule, Nancy. I never trust anybody with 3 names.
I noticed that right away.
Thomas Matthews Crooks, Lee Harvey Oswald, John Wilkes Booth. We go on and on and on. But this guy, when you hear how easy it was for him to get set up and cap off 8 shots in the direction of President Donald Trump, who was at the podium 150 yards away. He was in an elevated position. No security whatsoever. None. No drones, no helicopters, no surveillance. A ladder in the back of this building that enabled him to just climb right on up.
Right.
Position himself and get ready to shoot. And then you're going to hear a story of extraordinary cowardice on the part of some police officer who has yet to be identified, a member of the local Butler Police Department or maybe the county sheriff's office, who wins the Barney Fife Award for policing. After he's alerted that there's a guy with a gun on the roof, he climbs the ladder. The guy with the gun on the roof, the AR-15,
right,
sees him coming up the ladder, aims it at him. Instead of him engaging the guy with his own gun, he runs down the ladder. And then this guy goes on, you know his name, Thomas Matthew Crooks, to aim at Donald Trump from 150 yards out with an AR-15, which has a range of 200 yards, and shoots 8 times. Now,
yeah, actually, it was even closer, 130 yards out.
Thank you for the correction. And all we hear are excuses from all aspects of law enforcement. Oh, it was outside of the perimeter. What do you mean it was outside of the perimeter? Because it was a little fence that separated those 2 buildings that he had posted up on from the rest of the field and the other 2 buildings where the sniper units for the Secret Service had set up their nest. I mean, this is just the height of complete either incompetence, just a non-follow-up, minor detail, or it was set up this way. And increasingly, you almost have to believe it was set up to create an opportunity
I'm fine.
for somebody to hurt or kill President Donald Trump. It's starting to look more and more like that. So let's go back to the audio tape. It's a little after 6 o'clock. It's a hot, sweltering day. Butler, Pennsylvania. 50,000 MAGA fans are there to listen to President Donald Trump speak. He's about 5 to 7 minutes into his speech. He's just starting to talk about the porous border, the illegal invasion, and then we'll pick it up there as he's continuing his speech, and then you'll hear the shots.
Take a look at what happened.
So quick. 3 shots first, followed by 5 shots. Only 1 shot hits Donald Trump in the ear, and that's only because he turned his body in a different direction, or it might have hit him right in the head. And we might be talking about this situation in a far different way. Either Donald Trump being seriously injured, or maybe even being dead. But you hear that last shot at the very end, which is the shot from the sniper's nest, who finally see the guy with the gun. 1 shot to the head, virtually rips his head off of his shoulders, and he's laid out on the roof. And just imagine, everybody, you are Donald Trump now. You're in front of the podium. To your left, behind you, is the sniper's nest.
Horrible.
There are also people who are there watching you behind you in the stands. To your far right, as you had mentioned, Nancy, 130 yards away, there are 2 other buildings, about 2 stories high, white rooftop, which the gunman has gained access to. He has driven his car up that they later find out has explosives in it. He climbs a ladder where there is no security whatsoever. He then ends up crawling on his belly to get a better position to shoot at Donald Trump, who is already speaking. In fact, better than me are the eyewitnesses who were actually approached by a BBC reporter. These were young men who decided they didn't want to stay out in the hot, sweltering heat, so they would retreat a bit to a area where there were a lot of trees. They made the decision, okay, we won't be able to see Trump from there, but we can hear him. Let's just stay in the shade. These are MAGA supporters. In fact, the guy you're going to be listening to has red hair, very prominent red hair, and now, virally, his description has gone all over the world, although we played it just hours after the shooting actually took place on Saturday night.
Someone who was you weren't inside the event, but you were just outside. Tell us what you saw. So we had a party here all day. You can see behind us at the Brickles Farming Greenhouse here. We had a party, and we all decided, hey, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees out there in the shade, and listen to the rally. Right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes from speaking, I'm estimating here, I have no idea, but we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof. And he had a gun, right? He had a rifle. We can clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, oh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof, we can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And Next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why did they not pull him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots rang out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You were up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 or 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way that the smoke went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here?
Right.
I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
You saw that happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
It's incredibly shocking.
The guy was on the roof right there. You can see the white roof right there.
You didn't look at him? Could you?
No, other than he was in muted colors and tight clothing. We saw the rifle flinging around as he was trying to crawl. I mean, we saw the rifle, 100%.
Do you know about guns? Do you know what kind of weapon it was?
Oh, absolutely know about guns, for sure. I mean, it's a rifle of some sort. I wouldn't know, I wasn't close enough to read the label on it, but
Sure, but
it was a rifle of some sort. Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you process what you've just seen?
I don't know what to say, man. All I'll tell you is, if I walked up close to there with anything that Secret Service considered a problem, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you right now. But I don't know why a guy who we're standing there pointing out to police and Secret Service is crawling up the roof.
Were you outside the security perimeter?
Yes, right there by that tree. We're outside the security perimeter. But my question is, there's only a few buildings around here. Why is Secret Service not at every building here?
There's a whole bunch of questions I think that are going to come.
There's a whole bunch of questions.
Always.
There is no better, more concise description of what transpired, as all law enforcement agencies, including the Secret Service, the FBI, the state police, the local county sheriffs, the Butler Police Department are running for cover, and they're basically claiming, this occurred outside of the perimeter. As you pointed out, Nancy, the gunman, this guy, Thomas Matthew Crooks, 20 years old, with an AR-15 rifle that has a range of 200 yards, is staring right down at Donald Trump, ready to fire off his shots.
Yeah, when you see the layout of where the buildings are in relation to where he was speaking, where the crowd was, it absolutely is completely flat.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Lisa?
2 or 3 buildings. So how in the world did they not, besides not being on the building, how were they not looking at the only other place that you could be looking in the elevated air? Makes no sense.
So the red-headed MAGA supporter that you heard there talking to the BBC reporter did shout to the local police, did say there's a guy on the roof with a gun. And the local cops did attempt to go up the ladder, the same ladder that Thomas Matthew Crooks went up. And you got to ask yourself, what the hell was a ladder doing there?
Unbelievable, yeah.
What was a ladder doing?
And what type of policing work was there that they're walking around and they don't notice a ladder on going to the roof of a building? What is that?
So they began to go up the ladder to check on what these young men are screaming, that there's a guy with a gun on the roof. And when they reached the top of the ladder, the guy with the AR-15, Thomas Matthew Crooks, who was sizing up his target, Donald Trump at that moment, hears them, sees them, whirls around, aims it at them, and they run right back down the ladder instead of engaging him. It's like, this reminds me of what happened at Uvalde down in Texas, where you had the local and state police officers in the hallways, while some 18-year-old crazy guy, I remember named Salvador, ended up killing 19 students, 2 teachers, injuring 17 others. They're waiting around in the hallway, they're hearing the shots, and it took the U.S. Border Patrol miles away to run in there and take out this 18-year-old guy. Almost the same, Parkland High School, down in Florida. When this crazy guy goes into the school, Nicholas Cruz starts shooting up the school. He's killed 17, he's injured 17, and the Broward County Sheriff's guys won't go in.
Yeah, and something's very, very wrong in this situation.
Well, it's either Barney Fife policing, or just hang up your gun, hang up your badge. If you're not willing to risk your life in that kind of situation or any kind of situation, if you're going to run down the ladder in fear of a guy with an AR-15 rifle who's ready to shoot and kill President Donald Trump, and as we saw, ended up killing a father of 2 in the stands watching, who was protecting his daughters, 2 others who were critically wounded. It suggests to me that not only was it inept, but that when you actually had a chance to confront the gunman before he actually started firing shots, you chose to run down the ladder in fear, fright, and flight.
Yeah, I mean, and this idea that it's outside where
Y'all believe this?
they're discussing.
Y'all really
there's
believe
still
this?
cops in a county, in a state. The law still applies everywhere, so...
No, you're right about that. It shouldn't happen this way. It should have never
We
did.
have not heard from the Secret Service. Kimberly Cheadle, who is in charge, she's under amazing amount of criticism for all kinds of problems that she's brought to her leadership of the Secret Service. There are certainly not enough Secret Service agents assigned to Donald Trump. There are none assigned to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's been begging for them, and rightfully so, for months.
Damn.
I mean, he is clearly a target. His uncle having been killed as president in November of '63, his father being killed on his way to victory in the Chicago Convention on that floor, the kitchen of the hotel in Los Angeles, on victory night when he beat Eugene Clean McCarthy in that very contested, heated Democratic primary, 68. And you don't assign any Secret Service units. You don't have enough Secret Service protecting Donald Trump. And you're leaving it to local law enforcement to fill the gaps.
Yeah, so what was said, right? The Secret Service confirmed that it relied heavily on local police to help support its security efforts. So there were
what's going on, Barry?
local Butler County tactical units assisting Trump. It says only 2 Secret Service agents that was with him, but then supposedly there was 2 Secret Service sniper teams and 2 local sniper teams. So that's a minimum of 4 teams, assuming there's more than 1 person on them. And there was about 3 buildings, and yet no one was on that building. How does that work?
And then incredibly, with the attempt to assassinate the former president, the New York Times today, the old gray lady, you know, if you get the hard copy edition, like a lot of the Altacakas wait online to get, at the newsstands, Nancy, in our neighborhood, the Upper West Side, the lead page in the Sunday opinion section, full page, says, he failed the test of leadership and betrayed America. Voters must reject him. Now, Donald Trump. Like,
Are you kidding me?
That's
you
crazy.
couldn't wait maybe a
He
week or
failed
two,
the
New York
test.
Times.
They're kidding, right?
No, let me read this to everybody.
No.
So this is the section of the Sunday New York Times that the Altacakas can't wait to read, because they read every page while they're having their Starbucks, including letters to the editor. They argue over the letters to the editor. So they read everything. You've seen the women and the men in our neighborhood.
New York Times.
This is the lead Sunday opinion. It's the front page.
Unbelievable.
He failed the tests of leadership and betrayed America. Voters must reject him. Donald Trump.
That's so crass.
A day after he's almost assassinated.
That's the New York Times for you.
Themselves, clearly.
Well, I don't think so. You see, Although they won't publicly say this, and there are a lot of people who are not going to publicly say it, although some have already posted this, they wish that Thomas Matthew Crook's marksmanship was better. Look, they're not going to say it, but they would. They feel that the world will be a better place without Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty low life, though. I mean, I'm not really sure what else you can say about that.
Well, that goes on the heels of what President Joe Biden just said. We played that from the White House. He wants everybody to cool it.
Well, and actually, it was funny because he starts off with about a laundry list of like 12 other things, and then finally gets around to saying, oh, and by the way, it was bad that there was an assassination attempt. And then this cool down the rhetoric. I mean, if it was another situation, it would be, oh, this is a time to tighten the gun laws and gun violence. But because it's him, now it's the rhetoric. He didn't say anything. Someone has shot him.
Exactly. And up next, we're going to tell you who this assassin, a designated assassin is. And again, he does not fit your prototype. He does not fit your stereotype. He comes now from a long line of shooters, not like in the days when we had Lee Harvey Oswald, marksman. You had other individuals who were out there to do harm. I mean, I'll never forget, in fact, what was done in Memphis, Tennessee, when you had John Earl Ray across the street in a boarding house opposite the Lorraine Motel on April 4th of 1968. We're on the second floor balcony. Martin Luther King Jr. and his followers and supporters were there, aiding and abetting the sanitation department that was on strike for decent wages in the city of Memphis. And then James Earl Ray, again, never trust anybody with three names, with a rifle, ended up killing Martin Luther King Jr. Soon to follow, the assassination of RFK by Sirhan Sirhan. All of that in 1968. Those were men. Men, older men. We're now talking about 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-olds. Not necessarily with a political agenda. It's hard to put them into a slot. They're claiming there isn't much to discuss yet about Thomas Matthews Crooks, who comes from a upper middle class community outside of Pittsburgh, Butler, Pennsylvania. When we come back, we'll share with you everything we know about the would-be assassin. And just to give you a little hint, this guy, Thomas Matthew Crooks, wanted to join the high school shooting club, was rejected for being maybe the worst shot of any young man or young woman who had ever tried out for the shooting team there at the high school that he went to, Bethel Park High School. The worst shot ever, and I'm going to explain how bad a shot he was. But yesterday, it didn't matter if Donald Trump had not slightly turned in one direction at the podium.
Damn.
That one bullet that creased his ear might well have split his skull.
Yeah, he had an incredible reaction time.
And down he went.
Yeah, good for him.
Quickly, which he had to. But unfortunately, the police, a dollar short, a day late, and all we're getting now is excuse after excuse after excuse.
WABC 77 WABC.
Y'all hear this?
Crown jewel of talk radio.
Y'all really hear this?
Worldwide in 173 countries and all 50
Y'all hear
states.
this?
WABC is committed to live and
Anybody
local
want to
radio
support me, like
24
Roy
hours
said?
a day, 7 days a week.
$sign
What
Big
77
Hawk 700.
WABC
That's
can
my
do for
cash
you
app.
and your business.
$sign Big Hawk 700.
552-7175 and advertise with 77 WABC. Men over 45, do you have a frequent
That's
urgent
crazy.
urinate or a weak flow? Do you suffer from an enlarged
This
prostate
whole thing
or
is
BPH?
crazy.
Know your
Instead of
options.
going up to the roof, they
Medications are
come
bothering
down.
You, or you're worried about invasive surgery. Ask
That's
about
horrible,
the
man. I
Urolift
don't-
System. The Urolift system is an outpatient.
I don't
minimally
believe this,
invasive
man, what's
procedure.
going
It
on. I-
reopens the channel with no cutting and provides
think this
rapid
was- it's
symptom
real
relief.
crazy.
New, sustained,
It's real
erectile
crazy,
ejaculatory
Lisa.
dysfunction. As
It's
shown in a
real
clinical
crazy.
study, go to Urolift.com.
They was supposed to go
and
up to
click
the
on
roof,
Find a physician
and they
for
left
Dr.
and came
Near you.
down.
Urolift.com.
They coulda got him. They coulda got him. And out of all this,
Most
a
common side effects are temporary,
50-year-old
discomfort when urinating,
father
urgency,
was
inability
taken
to
off
control
the
urine,
face of the
stomach
earth.
pain, and some blood in the urine. Rare side effects,
50-year-old.
including bleeding and infection, may lead to a serious outcome and may require intervention. If you suffer from symptoms of an
50-year-old
enlarged
father
prostate or
was
BPH, the
taken off
Urolift
the face
system
of the
is a
earth.
proven alternative to BPH
Sealing his
medication
family.
or invasive surgery. Visit
Curtis gonna come
Urolift.com
back,
and click on Find a
and
physician
they
to
gonna
speak
let-
to a
they gonna
doctor
give you a
to see if you're a
whole,
candidate for the Urolift system.
history around
Assassination
this
attempt on
young
former
kid.
President Trump. 77 WABC broke in using the resources of 77 WABC. Nome laden.
Wow.
President Donald Trump rushed off stage by Secret Service agents Sid Rosenberg.
There's going to be a major, major investigation.
Rest in peace. Yeah, man. He was shielding his family, and one of the bullets got him. And he just retired from the fire department.
Dominic Carter.
And he gets taken out off the face of a firefighter.
On 77 WABC.
Horrible.
Talk Radio 77 WABC.
That is so shameful.
New York's talk station.
So shameful.
King of New York. Curtis Sliwa, 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
Saving a life, yup. Crazy, saving a life. His life gets snuffed out at 50 years old. He just retired as a firefighter in that same town, I think. That same town. Crazy.
Wow, you notice of late, all federal law enforcement agencies just not performing. FBI, Secret Service, CIA, which I've always said are criminals in action. It's a rogue operation that needs to be put out of action. We'll get into all of that. But let's give a profile of the guy who almost took out President Donald Trump, Thomas Matthew Crooks. Let me just give you a few headlines because they always clash with one another. It's not a very big town where he grew up, Butler, Pennsylvania. Everybody knows one another, 33,000. Very bucolic.
They should be held
Not
accountable.
having any problems.
That's what Curtis
A
is
lot of
saying. They should be
kids.
held accountable.
In fact, his family, his father was a registered Libertarian, his mother a registered Democrat, he's a registered Republican. So one headline says he was a loner and he was constantly bullied. But another headline says that in school he was polite and smart and kids liked him. Another headline says he was a whiz in history and math and even won math awards. Another headline says he was always on time in school, 8:20 each morning. And for the 20 minutes of preparation before the first period, he would either do homework or video games and was always polite to all. Yeah, it's like the descriptions at times clash with one another. I feel like, almost like, if you can, Matt Blaze, you can find the song Paul Anka, I'm Just a Lonely Boy. Because there appears to be nobody out there that he palled around with or hung around with. Nobody has anything bad to say about him. You know, it's not like he was a stoner or a jock in high school, or he was part of the AV squad or the yearbook squad.
He was a monster, Lisa. Yup,
Right, the
he
kid
was a
was
monster.
Kid did well, history, but his specialty was math. But in reading volumes that have been written up of people who grew up with him, and again, he spent his whole life there, so it's not like he was a brat moving around from place to place. He was always there. I would say the best way to epitomize him is with Paul Anka's song.
Curtis is crazy. I think Rock is crazy.
I'm all alone with nothing to do. I've got everything you could think of, but all I want is someone to love.
And I think that epitomizes him. Paul Anka, I'm just a lonely boy, lonely and blue. And when you look at the pictures of him in high school, he is a geek. He's a nerd. There's no other way to describe it.
Yeah, definitely.
A geeky nerd. Now, the most recent pictures seems that his hair got a lot longer, and it seemed like, I wouldn't say he became a blonde with peroxide, but his hair got lightened up.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, the looks didn't change for him.
No. So, imagine, this guy is the most infamous person in the world now. And this is the best we can do, is that he was just a lonely boy. His dad bought an AR-15. They found explosives in his, apparently his room. And they found explosives in the car that he drove up to that warehouse, crawled up a ladder with his AR-15, and just went about it as if it was a normal afternoon in Butler, Pennsylvania. Actually, the rally he was from Bethel, but the rally was in Butler, and he was just going to shoot and kill the President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you want the FBI working on this, because so far they sound like they're really dropping the ball. So, for starters, they say they haven't found a manifesto, and the suspect has never been under FBI investigation, right? So he's not on our list. They start speaking to the fact that he has not an unusual online history for a 20-year-old. He likes to play chess video games and was learning how to code. So the FBI wants the phone access. That's what they're trying to get right now, to see if there was any conversation. However, they officially said they had no reason to believe that the gunman was part of a larger plot involving other people. So apparently they've just moved on, like case closed, and we'll just, if we figure out why he did it, we do. If not, life goes on.
Now, I want you to repeat. This guy tried to kill President Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. We're all aware of that now. They got to get a warrant to break into his phone. I mean, has it gotten that ridiculous? And you have the assassin's phone.
You know what? Wow, I totally glazed over
that. We have to go to court.
How did I miss that?
And get a warrant in order to get permission to crack his code so we can find out who he's been communicating with. This has gotten bizarre.
No, you're right. So you're right. The FBI is trying to break into the cell phone with court approval.
Yeah, I think he was paid too.
So
yes, Lisa, I think he was paid too.
Decided we're not going to give you approval.
Bad. This is really bad. Like, you have the information right now, and again, they're already coming out and saying, well, we don't think it was part of a larger plot. Well, don't we have a convention coming up, and now you're going to wait around for a cell phone that may or may not indicate there's a larger plot, but we'll get to them.
Around my block.
Like they want to wash this
around my block.
This is horrible.
Because it puts them in a bad light.
Oh, the Dominican haircut place.
Completely, we're either malfeasant, incapable of doing their fiduciary duties, or they purposefully allow this to happen. And I'm beginning to think more and more that this was purposeful. I mean, we're talking about a glitch here. Now, first off, over the weekend when I was doing The Other Side of Midnight, we had callers who had gone to the gathering for Donald Trump in
everybody said I look Dominican.
100,000 people.
My best friends are Dominican.
An incredible number of people.
And Mexican.
And they described very succinctly.
And Puerto Rican. And Asian. And white. I love everybody.
Was done security-wise.
I'm pro-human.
Helicopters, local police, county police, Secret Service, FBI, everybody working in tandem. And they had no problems. But the biggest thing was the drones and the helicopters. Now we go to Butler, Pennsylvania, not a drone in the sky. We know Secret Service and FBI have drones, and maybe even the county sheriff's department have drones, and maybe even the Butler Police Department have drones. No drones, no helicopters, so no aerial surveillance of the area, which immediately would have spotted the gunman.
I mean, and this is ridiculous, right? So the main missions of the Secret Service, the snipers, is to perform the counter sniper mission. So for as many minutes as that guy was up there on the roof, how do they not see it? It's like there's only 2 roofs in eye distance. Like, where else were they looking?
I want to play that again. I can't play this enough.
This is insane.
I'm pro-human. I love everybody.
Clip done with the BBC that was on the scene, talking to eyewitnesses, these young men who were like 50 yards from the warehouse where they had seen the gunman on the roof, and they did everything but drop their drawers to attract attention of the police and Secret Service. I mean, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're hollering. You listen to his description in length of everything they did, and you tell me that this is not a Barney Fife security operation of Mayberry RFD, or possibly this void, this glitch, was left purposefully. And I would not exclude that from consideration, because I'm seeing that they're like slam, jam, thank you, ma'am. Oh, there's no connections whatsoever. They'll want to put this case to bed quickly because of all the ramifications and implications of it. It's almost like they want to whitewash this right away. We're not even.
Yes, I'm pro-Trump. I love Trump.
This is incredible.
Trump 2024. Trump 2024.
Okay. You know, we'll have to. They'll say we'll have to retrain. We'll have to.
Curtis Rock Sliwa for mayor of New York City.
Access to the phone records. Why is there
I'm
any reason to believe that
Curtis Rock
Sliwa actually
Sliwa.
on there? Now they're in possession of it.
2024 for New York City mayor.
Ladies and gentlemen, they have a phone in their hand, the gunman's phone, and they have to go to court first and get a warrant to crack into it.
Oh, and now another thing too, right? So there's a social media platform called Discord, which had an account of his, appears to be linked to him. It was rarely utilized, and this is their statement, right? Because what they did was they deleted his account. So how are you going to tell me that all of these, that would be the first thing. You can't let any of these things get deleted. They said it was rarely utilized, has not been used in months, and we found no evidence that it was used to plan this incident, promote violence, or discuss his political views. So now they're the arbiter of whether or not you get this information? What are you talking about?
Well, remember down in Nashville, you had that transgender who walked into that Christian school, remember? Who had originally himself gone to that school. I forget what she identified as. Blew away all those people. Had a manifesto. Was still waiting to read that. They've told us, oh my God, if you see this manifesto, it will be the end of the world. We can't let anybody. What do you mean you can't let anybody?
Hey, what's going on?
See it.
What's up, Darkstar? What's going on?
Something that we as taxpayers that fund law enforcement have to see. What the hell is
I
this?
love Curtis. I do Curtis for 38 years. I've been in Guardian Angel for 38 years.
In Nashville, because, oh my God, if you saw what this person wrote, it could lead to mass insurrection and revolution.
Okay, and that's the same thing they're trying to do.
Bull feathers.
They're trying to do here. Their main motivation now, right, is to create a profile. So then you know, oh, why would this person do it? Well, that's the exact reason you want to publicize that information, because now people will recognize when those traits appear in other people. Oh, this could be someone who's going to do that, because that's the whole point of gaining this information. To share it, not keep it to yourself.
1986 is when I joined the Guardian Angels. To right now, 2024, 38 years.
Yeah, and then Biden today, he calls for independent review of the assassination attempt, but then also directing the Secret Service to review its security measures for the Republican National Convention.
Yeah, Dark Star, it must be hot in Texas because it's hot up here, but I got my AC on.
Security decisions. Well, FYI, they've already said, no, what we have in place, we're going to keep. We're good. Even the president's word doesn't mean anything.
When we come back, we're going to discuss what was said in 4 minutes that in many instances completely contradicts everything we heard last night from a group of gaggling public safety officials who said nothing to the public, and the Secret Service was missing in action.
3 degrees?
WABC. It's the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Dark Star, that's hot. That's really hot. Right now, we up to about maybe 90, 98.
WABC broadcasts live from Milwaukee.
Wow, 100. Wow.
Answering the questions that matter.
President Trump's running.
That's hot, Dark Star. That's very hot.
The outcome of the 2024 election. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee.
That's crazy with Dio. This whole thing, man. And the thing when Donald Trump, they said that he said, you know, God save me. That's exactly what Donald Trump said. God save me.
Very pleased.
Unfortunately, it was a life taken, man. 50-year-old man.
I imagine
just retired from the fire department, shielding his family.
Very different.
He gets unalive.
2023, right?
Horrible.
A whole different way. Everybody knew everybody. He always went to somebody for a referral if he needed something done.
No sense at all.
Get a good mechanic. Go to
how did he get up there like we trying to figure out without somebody seeing him?
When I was here, you know, most of the
this whole thing is weird, man.
Portion of them, not most of them, were operated by people who were in illegal gambling back east, Chicago, Buffalo,
over 7,000 feet, 90 degrees.
It was legal. They went to Reno as well. It was operated by guys who knew the business. They didn't learn it in school. They learned it by, you know, hard knocks and actually operating speakeasies.
Anybody want to support me? $sign Big Hawk 700.
Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform. Coming up at 8 p.m. tonight on 77 WABC, the absolute latest on the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, using the resources of 77 WABC with 77
the best station,
WABC News
77 WABC Talk Radio. Y'all gotta download this from your iHeart.
In Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Go to your Google, download it.
Frank Morano. Keep it here for live.
Very good station.
On 77 WABC.
Talk Radio.
Talk Radio 77 WABC. No one knows New York better. The founder of the Guardian Angels, Curtis Sliwa.
You can't compete against that.
On 77 WABC.
Curtis Rock Sliwa.
The Bernard McGurk Studios.
Rock, man.
77 WABC. And Curtis Sliwa.
He's back. He's back.
Who do you put your trust on? This young man who, as a eyewitness, described very concisely and in a manner that we could all imagine what he was talking about, what had transpired next to that warehouse, what he had seen with his friends, the gunman on the roof. And again, all of the law enforcement agencies have yet to explain how the hell he got up onto that roof, but we find out that apparently they had left a ladder right next to the building. But let's play in length the 4 minutes. Then Nancy is going to read to you what the Secret Service and the FBI is saying. It contradicts what this eyewitness said.
Someone who was here. You weren't inside the event, but you were just outside. Tell us what you saw. So we had a party here all day. You can see behind us at the Brinkles Farm and Greenhouse here. We had a party. And we all decided, hey, you know, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees up there under the shade, and watch and listen to the rally, right? We couldn't see them, but we could hear them. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, you know. But we noticed the guy crawling, bear crawling out the roof of the building. beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We can clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, oh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof, we can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots rang out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy?
100%. 100%.
Shout out to my brother Philly Don, man.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4.
Shout out to Ace Live, Check and Effect,
The police, we were pointing
China
at
Mac,
the service who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing.
Action Kid,
Binoculars.
LaShawn Denise,
Because the roof, the way that the
my sister Angela.
behind where they could see.
Salute to all of y'all.
Why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? This is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Pretty sure they shot the guy.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, made sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
Wow.
It's incredibly shocking.
The guy was on the roof right there. You can see the white roof right there.
Get a look at him. Could you?
No, other than he was in muted colors, tan type clothing. We saw the rifle flinging around as he was trying to crawl. We saw the rifle, 100%.
Do you know about guns? Do you know what kind of weapon it was?
Oh, absolutely know about guns, for sure. Yeah, it's a rifle of some sort. I wouldn't know, I wasn't close enough to read the label on it.
Sure, but
it was a rifle of some sort. Yeah, absolutely.
So, how do you process what you've just seen?
I don't know what to say, man. All I'll tell you is, if I walked up close to there with anything that Secret Service considered a problem, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you right now. But I don't know why a guy who we're standing there pointing out to police and Secret Service is crawling up the roof. Yes, right there by that tree. We were outside the security perimeter. But my question is, there's only a few buildings around here. Why is Secret Service not in every building here?
There's a whole bunch of questions, I think, that are going to come.
There's a whole bunch of questions.
And the Secret Service refuses to answer any of those questions. This is an eyewitness. He sounded lucid. He didn't sound like he was half in the bag. So what are they saying about his account now, Nancy?
Okay, so this was, shortly after the shooting happened, and then the investigations going on, this involving the Secret Service agents, and they're stating that it was, again, right, the blame game, it was outside our perimeter, so it was secured by local law enforcement, not them. And the agency's spokesperson, so this is the local...
Not enough training at all.
Office,
at all.
Spoke about, the sniper crews they had, but then said, at this point in the investigation, the agency believes local police officers were alerted to suspicious activity and attempted to locate the gunman, but lost sight of him. Then he jumped on the roof, okay, and quickly started shooting. He was not camped out there before opening fire.
Completely at odds with the eyewitness.
Correct.
We find out.
Shout out to my new friend YouTuber Ricky Manning, man. Shout out to him too. I was on his show yesterday. Good brother. Please go join him.
Hey,
Ricky Manning.
Up there with a gun. Crawls up a ladder. Why the hell was there a ladder there to begin with? But crawls up a ladder, gets to the top of the ladder. The gunman with the AR-15, Thomas Matthews Crooks, turns around, sees him, aims the AR-15 at him,
and he runs right down the ladder.
I mean, and the fact that he actually turned where he was pointed to means to me you had more than enough time, ample time, to have tried to shoot at him. So I have no idea how you have any excuse for that.
And imagine if he had fired, let's say, his handgun. Immediately, that would.
I got your text. Yes, I did. It's in the phone. Yep.
Think, right?
I saw that.
Probably filled.
Yeah, I got that, Dark Star. Yep.
Full of lead. And he didn't even bother to fire, discharge his weapon. Nothing.
And then the callousness, okay, of the local law enforcement in Butler. They said the investigation will really give us an opportunity to take a look at where any failures occurred and what can be done better in the future. Do you really need to review what you just messed up on? Are you kidding me? That requires a review.
First off, Secret Service is overall in charge. So even if they were Hessians or mercenaries because they didn't have enough to fill the slots, meaning the local law enforcement filled
like
the
contractors.
void, they're still overall in charge. You're overall in charge. You got to take responsibility for this. One drone over, and they would have been able to see everyone in the area and all the rooftops.
You know, and they're saying they had 4 sniper teams, right? So again, I'm going to assume it has to be more than 4 people, right? So because a team would have to be at least 2. And yet in all of these visuals, all I keep seeing is 2 people on a roof. So where was the other 3 teams?
So you see, I'm not in this league that all cops are great and they're all brave and they're the best, not like the rest. We saw them in Uvalde in Texas as they stood by as one 18-year-old gunman killed 19 and 2 teachers and didn't do anything. We saw them at Parkland High School. The Broward County sheriffs refused to go into the school as this guy, Nicky Cruz, was shooting up the kids and teachers. And we saw that they were afraid to take on this 20-year-old gunman.
This is New York's Talk Leader, the Crown Jewel. Talk Radio, WABC New York at 107.
I'm going to end it right there. But I just want y'all to listen to some, Curtis, man, Rock is really intelligent. And when he wants to find something out, he will find it out. He will find it out. So I just gave you like about an hour, about 57 minutes, almost 60 minutes. But I'm about to take it down and make me some grub and relax myself. And thanks for listening and for being this. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. And like I said, $ Big Hawk 700, that'll help me out. No doubt. $ Big Hawk 700 or paypal.me/Colin Bostic. Of course, all the time. I'm gonna probably call Rock tomorrow and meet up with him and see if we're gonna get more information what's going on. All right, Dark Star, yeah, I definitely got that, Dark Star. I definitely got that, yeah. I definitely got that. And everybody have a safe night. Salute. This is Big Hawk. I'm out.